I was born into a family that very conservative in nature, and I grew up in the Catholic Church, and I was a very curious child, very different than my brothers. I questioned my spirituality at a very young age. So I was that kid who would go to my parents' bedroom in the middle of the night and say, okay, wait a minute, like, let's say time ends. What happens after time ends? Like, how does eternity continue? So I was always questioning those big, big things that my parents never really knew how to answer. And my mom's answer was usually just like, I'm really not sure, Meagan. I don't know. But she would hold me and comfort me and provide a space for me to be myself. And that's what I equated to as God's love. And towards the end of my tenure in college, I realized that I was gay. I was outed by an ex-boyfriend. And the Fellowship of Christian Athletes had a really hard time with the news and began to call me, question me, sit me down, tell me I was going to hell. Everything that I didn't need to hear were the things that I heard after the news was given to everyone. I really had a hard time. It was a complete struggle. I didn't have anyone in my life at the time who didn't say to me at some point, Meagan, I love you, but I disagree with your lifestyle, or I disagree with your choice. So I wasn't getting unconditional love from anyone at the time. I had close friends, but I didn't feel understood. And so it was a time for me to really figure out who I was, but it was hard to be enveloped by a culture that didn't see me or get me at all. And so after coming out to my family, and we had a hard time there, I ended up leaving Mississippi for a while and going to Florida. So I finished my college degrees and I moved on. About a year and a half later, I had another unlocked moment where I was still in Colorado. I was standing in front of a friend's kitchen window looking out, and all of a sudden I saw this vision of the state of Mississippi, and I started crying because I knew that it was calling me home, but I did not want to go home. I was absolutely terrified. But as I thought about it, I realized that if I didn't come home, then how could I really heal? And how could I have the conversations I needed to have with my family?
And what do you remember of that first Pride Parade?
Now you're really going to make me cry. I was newly pregnant and throwing up all day long, but I walked down those streets with my wife and I saw my community show up and standing on the long side of the road, cheering, supporting us. Were there protesters there? Yeah, but they were so outnumbered. I remember just not caring about the protesters. All I cared about was just seeing the support from the community that had rejected me 14 years ago. And it was completely overwhelming. And another one of those unlock moments for me. After that parade, I felt like I can take a break now. I can rest. I'm going to go and grow this child and become a mom and move on to the next chapter of my life. It's almost like it closed a chapter for me in a lot of ways.